Hello everybody and welcome back to the TheStoneRanger. Excuse the cup of tea. So, if you're new to the channel, you know that it takes a little bit of setting up when we first get going. So today we're looking at something different. We're not looking at stone carving today. We're looking at dry stone walling. And we're actually looking at this mini dry stone wall setup. This mini walling setup is something I've developed especially for my job when I'm teaching people dry stone walling. I teach a lot of school groups, ex-probation, corporate groups, all different types of dry stone walling. And I found this really good when they come to me, they want to have a little taster session. We can build it up on this platform and I can show them all the techniques of what we do with a dry stone wall or tabletop mini version. And we're going to go through all the process of dry stone walling tonight. We're going to start with the foundation. We're going to go through the first lift, through stones, second lift, and then coping stones. You can see all the coping stones lined up in front of me there. Let's have a look. See how the camera looks. Okay, well we may as well get started. If anyone's got any questions, I do have a screen here, and hopefully I'll be able to answer everyone's questions as I'm going along. Like I say, if you're new to the TheStoneRanger channel, you'll know that it's a smooth operation always. Let's try that. So, what I've got here, these are A-frames, these are walling frames. If you got them out in the field, they'd be really nice and tall. So when you're setting up your A-frames and you're out there building a dry stone wall in the field, you want to split the difference between the bottom and the top, really. So if this wall at the bottom here, say it's 12 inches, it's 6 inches along the top with the coping stones. And that works, we call that the batter. So when you're building that wall and it settles over a bit of time on them foundations, it all presses together. So yeah, this is the walling frame. Got some string lines between them. I'm going to move this string line up as I'm going through the evening as I'm building my courses. So the first thing we're going to do is get our foundation stones in. With general rule of thumb with foundation stone, let's go for the biggest, ugliest ones first. Get them in there. If this was again out in the field, this would be soil, good quality. We'd be building on. We'd be digging down to get to good quality foundation soil, and then the stones are going. Would want to make them all similar level. If they're big and really ugly, sometimes we have to have them sticking up and then we build into them, get our courses. But we don't want them to rock and move. Luckily, I've got a perfectly flat piece of plywood to build off. So that's taking that away though. So when I'm putting these stones on, I'm looking down my string line all the time to make sure we're sticking within that there. So we'll talk a little bit about the stone as we're going along. And I've got not a walling hammer, I've got a brick hammer. I'm a bit something I use a lot, of brick hammer. I probably shouldn't. Probably should use a walling hammer. I can get away with it tonight because I'm using small stones. So I'm going to keep stopping and checking the live feed, make sure everything's working okay. Yeah, it looks to be good. So it's quite nerve-wracking. So normally you'd see me on a Wednesday night carving, and I'd be carving here in the background. So I've got this stag I'm working on. Been doing this last week on a live. This is just a Viking theme. And I have the camera down here so I can constantly see the messages, the comments, all the people wanting to chat along. I can see it on there, but tonight it's obviously different and I have to look over here. So if you keep seeing me pop over here, that's where I'm going. So I'm just working my way around these, just neating them up. I'm just putting a face on some of them really. I like it to be nice and neat. That one might actually just go here. So you're wanting to have the stones ideally touching each other. So you get that friction. So if you can have them touching each other, that's pretty perfect really. And as we go up the courses, we're going to look about them overlapping, crossing our joint, get in the middle, or hearting if you call it hearting in there. So these stones, I get asked a lot about these stones. There's all different stones in here. And I get asked, where did they come from? They're actually left over from a project. And all we've done with them is sticking them. We've stuck them through the cement mixer. Just rumbled the edges off them. Just so they're a bit more authentic, like stones you'd get out there when you're working, rather than be perfectly square. It's all offcuts from my carving, which I do. So again, back to this, the carvings I do, these are all the pieces of offcuts that get chucked in a waste pile. We've just broken them up with a hammer or a saw, rumbled them through a cement mixer, and then they're perfect for this. Like I say, this wall was developed for teaching people dry stone walling. Take it a lot to scout groups. Evening, Ryan. It's Tuesday night and I'm carving. I'm not carving, I'm walling. Walling in my workshop. So I'm going to be carving as well tomorrow night. I'm carving, what am I carving tomorrow? I'm carving the, let's think what it is tomorrow. Oh, the Highland cow, all been well. So the Highland cow is going to be on my carving job tomorrow. So you'll start to see this wall come together a bit more as we go up in our courses. So if you're tuning in tonight, especially for dry stone walling, there are some other videos on my channel. Actually, some of my most popular videos on my channel. What I've got like 300,000 or 400,000 views on now of dry stone walling, showing you how to wall. So if you want to check them out after this, that'd be amazing. At some point we will stop and have a look at the different stones I'm using, because I've got a real selection in here. I've got lots of reclaimed stones and some really old stuff. How's my week been? Well, that's the question. That's a great question to ask today. It's fairly stressful today, if I'm honest with you. So I've been running a group reinstating an old footpath. So it joined two villages together, and it was called the Old Miners Path. And around where I live, it's quite a famous path. So I've been working with the cultural heritage team. We've had to get special permission to do the work on it. And there's been a big build up to it, getting the funding. It's probably been 18 months in total. Well, today was the big day. We started, we've got all week to do it. So I get there today, everything's going well. We have a little coffee break at about 11:15, called coffee break. One of my volunteers who came with me had a suspected stroke. So all down tools, we're in the recovery position. We rang the ambulance. There was a 12-hour wait. They were talking about bringing a helicopter because of the location I was in. In the end, the mountain rescue came and carried the guy out of there, and they were amazing. I could not be any more proud of the mountain rescue, the way they went about today. But there was a lot going on there. Then another one of my volunteers who were driving one of the vehicles, because of all the adrenaline, came down with a migraine. So she had to leave her car, and I had to drive her backwards and forwards of vehicles. And then, just to top it off, at the end of the day, we're going for a restructure at work. And we were finding out at the end of today whether I was being made redundant or not. Luckily, I've not been made redundant. So that's fairly nice. But it's been a stressful week, or stressful day, really. So just as I'm going along, you can see, putting all these bits in here. These are what I call them middle, really commonly known as hearting. And actually, a guy told me on my channel once that in Ireland, they call them banny, and banny translates to bond. So as we were talking about at the beginning of the video with the frames, how the wall will settle and it'll all tie together over a couple of years, that bonds the wall together. So that's where it comes from as bond. So I've got a bucket to one side with all my bits of middling, which is what I'd do when I was out in the field. If I was walling, I'd have my middle either in a bucket if I was feeling really prepared that day, or I'd just have them in a little pile at the side. Grab a beer. You're not wrong, grab a beer. It's yeah, it's definitely been one of them days. I think if I'd have known how it was all going to go today, I possibly wouldn't have been telling people I'd be doing this tonight. So I've got a bit of a problem with this wall. I don't know if you saw the little video of me saying, do you want to learn to dry stone wall? Come along and watch me do it. Well, 30,000 people clicked like on that, said they want to come along. But they all, even though on the video description I put on my YouTube channel, well, a lot of them think it's on TikTok. So we might have some disappointed people on TikTok right now, because that's where they think it's happening. Well, it is happening here, but a lot of them, I would imagine, are on TikTok, not reading the actual message on the screen. Well, I can always do it another day. Fine single malt whiskey, yeah, that would be good. No, I don't think I fully processed my day just yet, but I've got to keep my job. It is changing. I'm changing these departments, and truth be told, sorry if these people are watching this or watch this video, but it doesn't inspire me. It's I'm not inspired by the way the restructure. But never mind. The park is not there to please me. It's nice to have a couple of other wallers in the chat there. We've got Bry and we've got Graham. You'll be able to tell me if I'm doing it wrong. So you can see the bottom course is going in quite well there. Try to keep it nice and flat and uniform. That just makes it easier to going up. I once worked with a group, and the way I described it to them, think of walling a little bit like snooker. So you're prepping for the shot ahead or the stone ahead. So the better quality you put this course here and flatter it is and tighter it is, the easier the next course is. So you're always thinking a couple of shots ahead. I'm thinking if I have this nice and flat now, I can pick up a stone, lay it on there. It works great. If I'd have put a stone in which was a bit all over and it wasn't great, I'd go to my next course and it wouldn't sit as well. So I'm just thinking a couple of courses or a couple of stones ahead and definitely a course ahead. So I'm going to do some carving tomorrow night. So hopefully a few of you will be around. We'll have our normal chats. We'll have our normal chats in the live tomorrow. Something adventurous for tea. Evening meal. Highlight of my week talking about our evening meal. Well, I'm not going to go that far, but I do quite enjoy it. Feels different being on show to you. I know I film videos of me stood here talking, but I could do like 50 takes and you wouldn't know. But actually stood here talking to you when it's live and me fully on show is different to me stood here. So you normally see me just swinging a hammer just here and this bit. So now you've got all of this bit. So that's a course done. So I'm happy with that, how that's gone. It's nice and level, nice and tight. None of them are wobbling. Like I said at the beginning, I've got the luxury of a frame or a platform that I'm building off, and it's nice and flat and sturdy and strong. So none of them are moving. If we're out in the field and we're putting them into soil, you might want to dig underneath, pack them up with stone. make sure you've got a good quality foundation. All starts with the foundation. You've got to make sure that bit's strong. Okay, we're on to our next course. I'll quickly drink with some tea. Yeah, well, someone did point a good point out about my training videos, but you never know with redundancies when it comes to a national park. I don't think they want to make anyone redundant, and the CEO of the park, he doesn't want to be the CEO of a sinking ship. He doesn't want to be the guy who makes people redundant. It looks bad on him. The problem is we've got to work to a certain budget. We only get a certain amount of money, so we get our money from DEFRA each year, and it's a certain amount of money that doesn't change, and it hasn't changed for now, if I'm right, like 15 years. Well, over that 15 years, everything has gone up around us. So fuel, insurance, for example, the national insurance contribution you've got to pay now in this country, what businesses have got to pick up, that'll cost the national park an extra £250,000 a year. Well, they've got to find that from somewhere. So they don't want to make people redundant, but sometimes you just don't have a choice. So now there's some of my colleagues have been made redundant. So in my department, the department I work in, there's 14 people. There's 2 of them are trainees. So what we like to say with the trainees, we class them as supernumerary. So that's, you're not relying on them. They shouldn't be in your day-to-day 365 days a year thinking of how you go about your job and how it's doing. They're there to learn and train. They can help you out and they can lead and they can do jobs, but generally we shouldn't rely on them. So there's 2 of them in my team of 14. That takes us down to 12. And out of them 12, 2 of us have kept our job. So a team of 14 now is a team of 2. I think they are going to find other areas where they can bring people in, but at the moment, that's how it is. Team of 14 to 2, which is a big difference. So the training videos, what I was saying with the training videos is, so I'm teaching these training videos. I'm making these training videos. Someone said to me, if you make these training videos too well and you do too much of a good job and train people, you're doing yourself out of a job because everyone will be able to do the work. It's a really good point. But I'm doing them now. It's too late now. So I'm back to the wall. I'm on the next course here. I'm just working my way along. I'm just going to put a few different stones to one side. I'd like to show you the different colours of them shortly, of how nice they are. So the majority of this is leftover Derbyshire gritstone, but there's a few extra pieces in there. So if you're just tuning in to see me do some stone carving, tonight unfortunately we're dry stone walling. Well, maybe unfortunately for you if you're wanting to see stone carving, if you want to see walling, perfect. If you are here for walling, there's plenty of walling videos on my channel if you want to have a look. When this is finished, have a look around. Some of them are my most popular videos. So we've got 29 people watching. What I'm really hoping for in a walling video is to get a few likes. I'm really hoping we can get down to less than 100 subscribers needed to hit that 10,000 mark. That means tonight I'd need to gain around 19. If we could gain 19 subscribers tonight, that would be amazing. So if you're new and you want to hit the subscribe button, Now is a perfect opportunity. Yeah, slightly different tonight, this. It feels different. Strange. Got the same people in the chat as normal. It definitely feels slightly different now. That's the one I've been looking for. Evening, Connor. So who can join tomorrow? Who's going to be around for some stone carving tomorrow as well? So one thing to notice as I'm building this course along here now, each side I'm keeping at the same level. So not only is it all flat and level this way, I'm trying to keep it level both ways. So then when we get up to the point of needing a through stone, it'll sit nicely. Should be. Ryan should be around. Ryan, the carving looks great, finished, ready for delivery. You had much feedback? Well, I've been invited to a new carving event. So it's called the Devon and Cornwall Bushcraft Festival. And they've asked me if I want to go along and do a bit of walling demonstration, not carving, or a bit of both, to be fair. It's in August. August is a tricky time for me this year because I've got a fishing trip. And also my daughter's going to university. So I've got to make sure everything just lines up perfectly. But if it does, I'm going to go to that. Can you see the colours? Come closer to the screen. Just split that piece of stone up. You can see the colours in there. There we go. Beautiful stone. Tell you what, while I've stopped, let me show you this. So this here is a piece of 360 million year old Derbyshire limestone. I'm just going to put a bit of water on this. Can you see the fossils in there? This Derbyshire screw stone. Absolutely beautiful stone. Really dense stone. Not the easiest to, well, not bad to dress, but it's not the easiest to split. But it's a really nice thickness to work with. I used to make chopping boards out of this. Very pretty stone. So there's a bit of that mixed in. This here, this darker stuff, this is a piece of slate. So this is a piece of 1920s reclaimed slate. Bought a whole lot of it. You've probably seen it in some of my videos. And these are the offcuts, what I'm shooting about. How is Graham? How is your walling going? So what I might have to do, I might have to do this again, this wall. But for all them people who are probably sending me really angry messages now on TikTok saying, you said you'd be live at 7 o'clock because they didn't read it properly, I might have to do this all over again another night. The problem is, this wall is going out on an event tomorrow. So there's enough stone to go with this wall that you can have 3 of these set up. There isn't enough coping stones, but there's enough to have 3 walls set up. I don't know if I'm happy with that there. Put that. I do this thing when I'm walling. If there's a stone I'm not quite happy, but I know it's a good stone, I'll just place it out of the way. Some more of that fossilised limestone there. Beautiful stone. It's a nice chunky piece there. I might put that in. What we call that is a jumper. So it sits up on 2 courses, or a course and a half even. So that'd sit there. I'm going to have to take the back off it because it's too long. Again, let me show you this on the camera. How beautiful is that stone? That's Northumberland Tiger Stripe. Again, you've probably seen me use it on the channel. So that'll sit just there. That's a lot better for me. And then we'll get a slimish piece. On our next course. Not big enough. Maybe something like that. Just sit alongside it there. That brings it up into level. But that'll be the next course up anyway. So we're working on this course at the moment. So how's Graham's? Tired but happy. Life's good. Yeah, life is good. It's stressful day but good. I think there'll be a point tonight once I've built this, loaded it back in the trailer ready for tomorrow morning. Got to have it out of here tomorrow morning because I'm having a new borehole drilled for our water supply and the filter's changed. So I think once this is all built tonight, packed down, I think there'll be a point where I just sit there, maybe with a beer, like you've all suggested, or a single malt, and just go, whew, let's just stop and take all that in. But yeah, other than that, really nice. So we bought some goats. The bees are starting to get a bit more active as it warms up, which means my bee man will be turning up very soon. Looking forward to that. Get the bees going. Got some nice events coming up. Got a work trip coming up, which is good. I'm going to the Lake District. So I will be missing that Wednesday. Good time to tell you all. I will tell you closer. Wednesday the 12th, I think I'm right. I'll be missing that Wednesday. I'm away Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. But you never know, we might squeeze something in somewhere. Go fishing next week. Looking forward to that. Not sure how that's going to work with YouTube. We might just move that to Tuesday because of my fishing trip. Going with my dad, a couple of friends, going on the River Trent. I'd like to think barbel fishing might be too cold, but you never know. I've been reading some fishing forums or some fishing pages on YouTube, and they're catching fish. So slightly tighter than it needs to be there. Good dry stone walling land. The Lake District. So it's a work event, so it's I'm going to inclusivity training. That's what I'm going to. Hopefully it's more fun than it sounds. Sure it will be. I mean, there must be a lot of training if it's for 3 days. So I'm just dressing these stones now, just to make them flat. Something's just not sitting right there. What I could do with now is my scotch hammer. There we go. Right, let's get this filled in, and we'll get these string lines put up, and we'll go up a course. Sounds like something your company would go on. Have I explained about what crossing my joints? Is that what I said then? So yeah, Graham's saying we're crossing our joints. You can see as I'm going up here, you want a certain percentage of the stone crossing them over. I like to work on like about at least 25%. You don't want it just crossing the joint. It can be quite difficult with this small wall actually, because obviously it's a small setup. So this one's in the middle. I've got a running joint here, but it's only 2, and that's acceptable because we will cover it here. Because this is a jumper stone, and it's nice and flat, this one could cross my joint here. So that's acceptable. You don't want any more than 2. 3 is an absolute no-no. I've seen some walls and they're all the way from top to bottom, a quarter of the wall, a third of the wall. Some of them are horrendously bad for running joints. We don't want to be doing that. So we definitely want to have them staggered. And then we'll have a quick talk about cheek ends. Now we're going up, of course. I'm sliding these strings up. So all I've done with these strings is put a loop on each end, just so we can so we might do it that there. Just put a loop on just so I can slide them up, which is quite nice. So when I was out walling in the field full time, my pins were metal bar, like rebar, really nice and chunky. If we were working on some solid limestone ground and we needed to get them through the soil, we could. But what that left me with on the end when I was tying my string, it left me with the round bar, and I used to cut the ends off bungee cords, tie my string on, cut my string so it was possibly like 3 inches short, and just stretch it, and I'd be able to slide it up and down on my rebar, which was really nice. And it wouldn't move because rebar has got the grooves in there, so when it stayed, it hooked on, and it saved you untying it, especially if you've got gloves on. It's cold and you try and untie it, it gets really knotty. When I was walling and I was tying the string, some of my walling strings would look like mackerel. I was mackerel fishing with bits hanging off where I'd broken it with the hammer or a bit of stone and I had to re-tie it back on. So it's gone through lots of string in my life, but luckily you buy it in rolls where there's like a mile on there of baler twine, and it's very cheap. So if there's anyone new to the channel, definitely should stick your name in the comments. It's always nice to have new people introduce themselves. So now we're going to look at a cheek end from where you are anyway. That's one downside to me not filming this to put it on, which I might potentially do in the future. The cheek end, you'll notice I'm going length down the face of the wall, then length into the wall, length down the face, and length in. I'm staggering that So we've got no running joints on the end of here. So if you were to go and do a dry stone walling exam tomorrow, level 1, they'd expect you to build 2.5 meters of dry stone wall. That's take it down, rebuild it, coping stones on in around 7 hours. That's the rough time they'd expect you to do it. And each part you're working on gets graded, and you can't get below a certain grade in a certain area. So you get certain points for certain bits. So you get your foundation to be worth 30 points. Then your first lift to be worth 40 points. Through stones, maybe 15, 20 points. Second lift, again, 30, 40 points. And then coping stones. And also how you approach a wall, safety, all goes into it. So that would be your level 1. Your level 2, and if you pass your level 2, can't remember the time you get, I think it's probably a similar amount of time, you'd expect to build the same amount of wall with a cheek end. And the cheek end is the bit you'd say you'd get a gate post. Like we're doing here, we've got 2 of them, and the wall is going down the wall and then into the wall, and we're staggering it. So we've got no running joints on the end. And it's a really strong piece of wall, and actually looks really pretty, done well. There is a video again on the channel if you want to go and have a look at it. Done well, a cheek end is a real beautiful piece, what can be a real feature. I actually built one where every course I did, I had to build it exactly as you would, but curve it out. So the round gate post sat within the cheek end, and they had to match either side. I really enjoyed that project. Really nice stone, and got paid to do it nice and steady and slowly to make a real nice feature of it. But here we're just going simple, straight up to the top, cheek ends. If you were to pass your level 2 exam with a cheek end and a 2.5 meter wall, you'd be classed as a professional dry stone wall at that point. Then you go on to level 3, then you can go on to master craftsmanship. But we're just looking at a couple of mini cheek ends and a stretch of wall here. We're just going through the basics of dry stone walling. We've got the foundations in, we're crossing our joints, we're getting the middle in there, we've got a jumper, we're going to get it level on this string then we're going to look at a through stone, second lift, and then all them coping stones on top. And that's the point we stand back and smile for the camera. Well, that's what I tell my volunteers when I'm working with them anyway. So I'll just check my messages. So we've got 12 thumbs up now. It's oh no, 11, sorry. It's yeah, so Brian's right. Trying to make it to 20 tonight. If you can help me get to 20, brilliant. We're trying to make it to 20 every night. That's not a surprise to any of you regulars. We're always trying to make it to 20. And I think when we get to regular 20, we'll try and go for 25. Somebody asked me the other day at work, do I miss dry stone walling full time? My back doesn't miss dry stone walling full time, but there's parts of it I miss. You know, then when you've gone through a long winter, a bit like now, it's been a long winter, and you start feeling that spring sun every now and again on you, and it starts to warm up. That can be an exciting feeling. Or when you've come to an end of a job and you're really proud, it's just gone exactly how you wanted it to. I miss bits and bobs like that, or that freedom of just having my headphones on and it's just me, a pile of stone, a couple of hammers, and we're walling away. I do miss parts of it. So in my job, what I've got at the minute can become a bit stressful at times. But then I also like payday, when I don't have to worry about chasing money, doing my tax return, national insurance contribution. That's all done for me. So there's them days where I don't miss it. Overall, I would say I like being employed rather than self-employed at this moment in time. You never know. If I do ever get made redundant, I might be tempted out of retirement, but at this moment in time, I'd say no. So what I've done here, which is I always tell my volunteers, don't do this when I'm teaching the walling. I've left myself with a problem. So I like to work from one side, there and back, or keep working the same way. Because I put this jumper in and we've got this flat one, and this is a different height, What I've left myself now is finding the right stone for the gap. Luckily, I can find one, but it's not always that easy, and you're just slowing yourself down because you've got to fill in it. It's a lot better if you just work in a flowing motion. Then each stone can butt up against each other, and it stops you having to find the right stone for the gap. This is the point when someone always pipes up and says, someone told me once you've picked a stone up, you can't pick it down. Put it down. It's true in some ways. You want to be finding a gap for it. But what you wanted to do there, the trick with that is teaching yourself to pick the right stone up in the first place. That's all you're trying to do. The old boys who've come up with that rule have probably got a real good eye for it. They can pick the right stone up at the right time. When you're doing it full time, Graham will tell you this, Brian will tell you this. You're picking the stone up and you just know. When you're ripping a wall out, you subconsciously know that where some of the stones are. You think, oh, that's a really good one, it's got to go there. Through stones over there. Hearting and middle at the front. Right, I know that I've got it coursed. Never been one of them wallers what place it all faced upright so you can see all the coursing and all the faces. I like to get it in piles, but generally bigger ones at the front, slimmer ones at the back. So you do know subconsciously where they are. And you think, or I remember one, it was a jumper. It's around here, I get that one. So you are picking the right stone up for the job. So the trick is, yeah, just pick the right stone up in the first place. That rule of never putting it down. It's not always the case. Sometimes you have to. You can try, but you're forcing it. So it's, yeah, it's not always true. Let's see what stones we've got. Like something a bit nicer in there. Just not quite right. So could I dress that down? This is the softer stone. So we've got a few people watching right now, and I've said this a couple of times already tonight. If you're new to the channel, you want to learn a bit of dry stone walling, when this is finished, make sure you go along, hit the subscribe button, and there are some more videos on the channel. My channel holds about 300 videos at this moment in time, some of them which are all about dry stone walling. Some of my most popular videos are on there, which are dry stone walling videos. So if you want to go check them out, that'd be really good. I think some of them are like 300, 400,000 views, which is absolutely amazing. Some of them videos have got more likes and comments than some of my other videos have got video views in total. So yeah, go and check them out. Hopefully they'll be helpful. And if you have any questions, drop it in the comments. And if you're new, like I say hi. It's always nice to see the new people. So if we've got less than 100 subscribers, look at that. If we've got less than 100 subscribers to go by the time we are live carving tomorrow night, I'm going to bring the digital counter out tomorrow. Which should be nice. Nice to see that go down. If we can hit that live one Wednesday night, that'd be fantastic. So the reason this wall is in my workshop today and it's not at work, because this is actually work's wall. I came up with this for work, got some help dressing and rumbling all the stone with the copers and stuff back at the old workshop. But the idea was we could teach people with it. Well, yesterday I was doing a tutorial video on how to use this wall. So that's why it's here at my workshop. And I thought, I can't miss the opportunity to use it live on the channel. A Freemason? No, I'm not a Freemason. I did once get approached by the Freemasons, though. I mean, I would say if we've got time, I'd tell you the simple story about it. It is very simple. And we do actually have time, don't we? So I kind of got vetted without me realising. Is vetted the right word? They were sounding me out to be a Freemason, and I did get offered to go. So this guy used to come into my workshop and talk to me. Regular, really nice guy. Got on with him really well. Just going to stop. I'm just going to drop a bit of that Welsh slate in there. Add a bit of different colour in there. I'm just going to dress the end up off it. So he'd come to my workshop every couple of months, maybe over the years, maybe 6 weeks, and he'd talk to me. We have nothing but time. No, yeah, that's true. And he talked to me regular, really nice guy, got on with him, and he'd ask me loads of questions about stonemasonry, bought a few bits off me. He'd come with his wife sometimes and make him a cup of tea into the workshop, and then he started talking to me about the Freemasons. And then it finally got to the point, after many, many visits, he had to put forward somebody to be his candidate to be in the Freemasons, and he didn't actually have any stonemasons in their ranks at the time. So he wanted to put me forward, and I looked into it a little bit. Bizarre. I couldn't get my head around it, actually. You know, there's a lot of money involved. It's I couldn't fully figure it out. There was a lot of commitment. So I said to him, I'm not saying no forever, but this moment in time in my life, it's not for me. Never know if that was a good thing or not, but it felt right to say no. So yeah, he wanted to put me forward as his candidate to be a Freemason. Did a little bit of research on it at the time. They did a really fascinating Channel 4 program, which I found on YouTube. And the finances them boys have got is next level. And somebody said to him, how did you raise all this money? You got all this money, in about like millions. And they said, well, we do like cake sales and charity events and bits and bobs. I'm thinking, wow, that is a fair amount of cake. So this is going up quite nicely. We'll have a quick look at the front. Yeah, the joints are crossed. We'll cross this one here. That's allowed. We've got this jumper here. We're going to put a nice sliver and then maybe a big one. We'll bring this course in. We'll do a little bit of work on this cheek end. But that's coming along. Hopefully it's coming across on the video quite well. I believe in Jesus Christ. Car, I can hear a car on my drive. See, this is a great one here. See, it's gone the full length. You can see this piece here fits the full length on the cheek end. That is always nice when you're building the cheek end, if you can get a stone what goes all the way across. Obviously a lot easier when everything's in miniature to be able to do that. Yeah, the Amazon man's outside. I can hear it. My wife's ordered a room odorizer, what goes on top of the log burner. She's quite excited about. So no doubt after this video I'll go in and it'll smell like maybe rose petals, or what else could smell? Lavender. Thank you, Paul. Well, hit the subscribe button so we can see you again. So we carve, I'm looking over here, but actually I should be looking over here. We carve every Wednesday, unless that's at limestone. So I told you it was really tough. Trying to take the back off, that's really tough stuff. So we carve every Wednesday, 7 until 9. It's not quite right, that. Yeah, every Wednesday, 7 till 9. We're working on all different bits. So the last couple of weeks, let me just do this and I'll tell you. The last couple of weeks we've been working on this deer behind me. I don't know if you can see it. Maybe I could bring it closer to the camera so you can have a look. There's a deer carving here, and then there's a Nordic Viking themed carving here. Very simple. I actually got told off with this. So would you believe this carving I'm doing here? Apparently Vikings don't have horns on the helmets. So someone's sending me a message saying, lose the horns. Vikings don't have horns. Hollywood have come up with this myth that Vikings have horns. Never realised that. So we've got 16 thumbs up. If we can make that to 20, that would be incredible. That's news to you, Paul. It was news to me, but this guy who sent it to me had a Viking style name, so I wasn't going to dispute it. My Viking knowledge is not up there. I quite like these different colours of stones in these walls. So we get the majority of the bulk of it is the Derbyshire Gritstone, this chocolatey browny colour, which is really nice, especially when it's wet like this. But then you got these little flicks of different colours in there, which I really like. That could be the one. That could easily be the one. Try and take a bit off that. Not fully happy, but we're getting there. We're just dressing it into shape. The problem with putting something on YouTube, you're always going to have them people want to criticise. So we've got to try and make it look something right. So just a little bit more off this end, and then we're good. So have any of you guys who are watching ever done a TikTok live? So well, there's all them people who have commented on my TikTok post about watching me build this dry stone wall. I do feel a bit bad that I'm here and not there. Even though I said I'd be over on YouTube, it would have been, I feel like I'm going to have to make it up to them guys. Never done a TikTok live before. I've seen people do it. I've never done it personally. I would imagine it's very similar. So we're almost at middle. We've got a little bit more work to do. Just keeping this nice and tidy. I'm trying to take my time to make it look right as we're going up. So if I was doing this and I wasn't on camera, it would be a lot quicker. We'd have some music on, and it'd be going up a lot quicker. I'm trying to take my time with it and talk to you guys as we go along. Let's have a look what we've got here for this next course. So these are going to come into their own as we're going up towards the top. So that's a nice piece of length there, which we could possibly use on the, probably slightly too long. We've got anything in between? So we could dress that one up. That works. That's nice. Slow and steady gets the job done. This is a good one I put here, look. Oh, that's absolutely spot on for what I need just there. going to be even better, hopefully. So this is a classic case of when you've got this perfect stone and you think, well, I'm just going to tweak it, and it's you're just hoping it doesn't break on you when you've got the hammer out. So all I'm trying to do, and even though this wall is going to get taken down at the end, I'm just trying to tighten that joint up. It was worth the risk. It's paid off. Okay, nice. That is a corker. It is an absolute corker, but that will go there actually next course. Save that one. Bit of limestone at the back. Will that work? Yes. So again, I'm taking my time to dress these bits of stone, making them flat, as we were saying earlier, as you're working up the wall. You want them to be as flat as possible for your next course. It makes it a lot easier. Okay, fill this in, and then we'll have a look at some. We needed to make sure we leveled that one off there, didn't we? So what have we got? What run across the top? That's a different height. Might have to just step it up there. Crossing out a joint. On to that next course. We'll just try and dress that to make it look a bit nicer. So this stone here is quite soft. It doesn't hold an edge much. This is a stone called Northumberland Blue. It's not great for carving. It's not bad for walling. It's just not got the biggest lifespan in the world when it comes to stone. I mean, I've got a pallet of the stuff if anyone wants to buy any. No good for paving. It's not a lot good for a lot, really. Not selling it to you, am I? But there is a pallet going for sale. Nice and strong. I have seen some pictures of that actually. I was working with a guy today, an Irish fella, an Englishman and an Irishman building a French drain on a footpath. So this is that height we're looking for on this one. After the next course, we're going to start using some of the smaller pieces. Just built myself into a little tricky area here with this. That one is an odd size, but nothing much matching it. I might have to swap it. One of my stone matches it. Okay, a bit more packing in there. That's what we need. No, it's not the start of a joke. It generally, an Englishman and Irishman building a French drain. I said it to him today. He thought it was hilarious. told my wife when she got home, and she just looked at me as if to say, it's not even funny. And I was like, well, I know. It's just this guy thought it was funny today. Right, let's swap that. We've built ourselves into a little tricky position. We're going to try and get ourselves out of it. Let's get some stone up here. So maybe we're going to do this instead. So we're going to try that instead, and we're going to then look at the one which is the same height here. See how that goes. It's one thing with walling, knowing when you're just battling and it's time to just stop, maybe reset, have another look at it, or just change the stone if you're having a lot of trouble. I've worked with a lot of guys over the year who just got themselves in a real pickle because it's not quite right, and they just can't figure it out. They've stopped, we've had lunch, you've gone back, 2 or 3 minutes later it's fixed it. You can get this, we used to call it 3 o'clock madness. It'd get to about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, you'd be staring at the same piece of stone, trying to figure it out, couldn't do it. You'd stop, reset, no problem. Or the end of the day, you just wanted to get that bit done. Doesn't work. First thing in the morning, you're ding, 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 sorted. And you're moving on. A bit like that advert what used to be on telly where you used to go nose blind, you go stone blind. So I've had a steady amount of people watching this evening, which is nice. Hopefully some of you will be back tomorrow to see me do some stone carving. I could possibly flick the lights down. If there's anyone in the chat who wants to see the stone carving we do, or some of the stone carvings we do, you get a better effect when this main light is off, and I've just got this one working now. So this deer, I was actually meant to deliver it this week. It's just been a really busy week. Like I've told you, we've had all sorts of problems. And we've got a few carvings kicking about. So if anyone in the chat wanted to see that deer a bit closer up with the lights down, just let me know. Still trying to work on getting to that 20 thumbs up. I've got my bucket of hearting. Fill in the gaps here. Okay, we're on next course, and the next course is Throughstone course. And I've only actually got one, and this is the one. So the Throughstone does exactly what it says on the tin. It goes all the way through the wall. You want to sit it nice and flat. So luckily we've been building the wall nice and flat. And I know already I want to put it at this end of the wall because we've got a jumper here. We've got a couple of stones with irregular heights that were brought back into a course. So I want to make sure I sit it over here. And I'm thinking over this one and over here. That's where I'm thinking it's going to go. So that will be our Throughstone. It sticks out slightly this side. Depending on where you are in the country and depending on who you're working for, some people like it sticking out. I worked for one farmer, did a couple of 100 meters of what, and he wanted the Throughstone sticking out. He wanted to see where you'd put them because he knew how important they were. He wanted to see them every meter or so, maybe every meter and a half if we didn't have many, but every meter was about right. And he wanted to see them at different heights. Then I worked for his next door neighbour, say build him 100 meters of wall, and he wanted them all flush. Because when he was running down the side of his wall with his ride-on mower, down his driveway, he wanted to get tight up to the wall, and he didn't want Throughstone sticking out, what stopped him getting in there. So each individual customer or farmer has a different approach to Throughstones. I quite like seeing them sticking out, not too far, so it's like style, encouraging people to jump over the wall, but a little bit I don't mind at all. This one we'll leave sticking out at the back. We'll have it flush at the front. So I've just quickly put a bit of shape on tax. It's very smooth. A lot of this stone is smooth. Like I say, we can't really help that because it's leftover. It's leftover cut face stone. So that's going to go there. Won't be too far off height actually. So let's bring our pins up. Santa, it's hello. Not very often we see you on a live. I do appreciate that you always come along and comment though, even after the live has been on, which is nice. So that's where we're at now. So bring that up. That's the course we're looking for. Bring the other side up. And we're roughly eyeing it in, trying to keep it level. So if we're out on site and we're building a lovely garden wall, we could stick a bubble on there, a bubble line. The string nice and tight, your bubble would sit in it and tell us if it was level. I could have a rummage around and find one. It's not the time. I'll get distracted. And then we've got this string at the back here. A little bit looser, that one. Just stretch a little. I'm using Hessian string here. It's not ideal for the job. I don't normally use Hessian string, but it's what I've got. So I brought the string up quite high there because we're going to the top of that coping stone, that through stone. And then we'll only have a sliver to go on top. Wall's looking good, thank you. I know what you're all thinking. It's Tuesday night. What's he doing on a Tuesday night? Well, I'm also back tomorrow, so don't panic. I know you're not. You're probably thinking not twice in 1 week. So, cheek end. Dress it up. It's always nice to start with the cheek end. Get your best stone. So this is all waste stone. It's all waste stone. So at the end of it, stop and have a look. Think what we've built here with waste stone. So when you drive past them quarries and there's all that offcuts, this is what you can make. So if you wanted to build a feature in your garden, maybe if you wanted to build some little retaining walls around like a patio, or if they were holding up a bit of a veg patch or flower garden, or you fancied building yourself a barbecue or something along them lines, you go, this is what you can do with a pile of leftover waste stone. 21 thumbs up. Wow. Thank you. Flying. I can go to bed happy now tonight. You've made a middle-aged bald man happy. So talking about being bald, I saw a guy on a video the other day who had a hairpiece. Right, hear me out with this. He had a hairpiece for his wedding, and they said it was like £600. He has to have it looked at every 6 to 8 months, and it lasts 6 years, and it was amazing. The guy looked incredible. Absolutely incredible. I said it to my wife. She said, "Oh, you should get one." I'm thinking, looks strange just turning up to work all of a sudden one day and I've got an afro. It's but also I said, you should be saying, "Oh, you're fine as you are." Not saying, "Oh, you should get one." So you see this stone here? When you've got a gap, this fits perfect. And we're going up against this through stone. So we made ourselves that problem, but we didn't really have much choice because that's where the through stones go. This stone here, we call it a gold bar. Sometimes these, when you're taking down the wall and you just know it's got the thickness, it's got the length into the wall, it's the right size, you know that is going to get you out of a bit of a pinch at some point. You put that to one side. That is what we call a gold bar. And that just sits in there nicely. There we go. So what have we got here? Wow, that's a lot of stonemasons. My father and my uncle were stonemasons. My father-in-law and my wife's uncle were also masons. Wow, nice. Do you have some good masonry around the place? So you're in New York, if I remember rightly. I'm not good at remembering where everyone's from, but I think we had a conversation about the weather once on one of my lives. So just as I'm working along, if you are new to the channel, please do me a favour. Hit the like button, and if you want to be super amazing, hit the subscribe button. We are working towards our 10,000 subscriber goal. And before I went live, I was 119 short. So we're getting there. We're doing quite well. And I'm happy with progress. Just thought I'd put out a cheeky little ask if anybody wants to help us on our way. That'd be nice. I'd really like to get it so we needed less than 100 by tomorrow night. So 19, if we could gain today, would be amazing. So when I'm carving live tomorrow night on the easel behind me, it'd be really nice if we were running our live YouTube counter. And I said I'll do that when we're at 100 subscribers needed. You never know. That could be tomorrow. Amazing, we're on 20 thumbs up. It's that's incredible. That go along there. We did say we had one roughly for there, didn't we? Got a real stack of stone in front of me. So one thing I do with this wall, when I get the schools to build them, they work in 2s and 3s building these walls. And like I say, we can have 3 or 4 of these walls going at once when I'm teaching. And I get them at the end, because they're all just loose stone and no sand or cement. And they find it hard to get their head around this, the kids from, like, say, a Scouts group or Cubs, that there's no cement. People always ask me, even the adults say, no sand or cement. And I get them to build the wall, and at the end of it, they get to take it in turns to try and push it over. And if you've got all your joints nice and tight, they really struggle to push it over. And it gets them to see how strong it can be by just having the stone touching each other, that friction of the stone touching each other. So as these stones are sat, say I've got them like this and they're sat on top of each other, you've got that bit of friction and pulling to each other and pressing down. And slightly that batter, as we're building the walls, that's coming up there. You're wanting the water to run off it as the wall goes down. You don't want the water running back into the wall. So if it runs, say we've got a heavy rain storm tonight, water's running down it, but then it's going to hit -6. So we're going to get freezing rain, and all that moisture sat inside there. It's going to get in the stone inside the wall. It's going to get into the bits of the hearting and the back of the stone. It's going to get in there. It's going to blow the stone open. The frost's really going to get in, crack the stone. Then you're going to be left with voids. Then you're going to have a weak wall. So we're wanting the water to run down the front of it. And when I'm explaining this to all the kids and their parents and bits, and then they have a go at building it and they build it properly and try and push it over, even the parents are amazed over how strong they can just build this little dry stone wall and they can't push it over. You always get that one person who really gives it some. And they can move it, but they can't push it over unless they've done a terrible job of it. Some of them who have not done such a great job, sometimes they can get it over. And I generally find it's the girls what do the best job. They're the ones what put the real, they're a little bit more patient. The boys just like getting the hammer and smashing stone and going for it, which you'd expect. That's a shame because that works, but it's not. It's going to split that stone. Ah, there we go. We knew it as well. Get to that time of night when I'm wishing I had another cup of tea. Yeah, it's a real milestone when we get to that 20 thumbs up. Connor was saying earlier, this course I'm going on about, inclusivity course, I've just finished safeguarding training and now going on this course, which at least I'm not doing it in the office. Like the safeguarding one was just in the office for 4 hours or in the boardroom. At least it's when I get to go away and do it. But it's he was saying that's one of the course, like his company he works for would send him on. So do any of you who are watching, have any of you been on any courses where you've really enjoyed them, or you found them a little bit heavy, a bit too much? I mean, the safeguard one's always heavy. Any have struggled to stay sleeping? I've been on some of them, and people really are nodding at certain times. Nice piece of slate, that. It was definitely a good buy, that slate, the day I bought that slate. It was that heavy unloading it on the forklift, all the sheets of it, which didn't look a lot. Obviously, it's very dense. The forklift was leaning forwards. Well, do you know, I've just remembered, we were talking about it being a heavy day and how I should have a beer after all what's happened today. Remember, my son bought me home last week a bottle of Timothy Taylor's, which I've got in the kitchen. So tonight might be the night I open that. Not many more courses to go. So you can see the Joro logo up behind me because I've been working with them guys. But we put their logo up for a bit. They've been kind enough to donate some stuff to the channel. Kind of a sponsorship in a way with products. So I was thinking, you know, we should get more up around the place. So companies what I work with, we should get them up there. or I should put them up. Do you know, like when you see signs that say have your business advertised here, so other companies who stumble across the channel as it gets bigger, they can see it and maybe send us some stuff or think about having their branding in the background. Because at times, I mean, say the little short we've just put on, which has got the Juro in the background, had 30,000 people see that in the last 12 hours. So it's worth it to them. Oh, yeah, heavy day. It's been a real heavy day. So somebody at the beginning, I think it was Ryan, said, how's your day been? And I said, that's the question of the day. So I've been working on this, restoring this historic path, and we've been working towards getting there with this path, getting everything set up and going. And it's taken about 18 months to get there. Well, today was the first day on it, and we're all there. Lots of work, digging away, getting it all set up. We had lunch about no, sorry, not lunch. We had a break about 11:15. Call break time. 10 of us on site. One of the guys who came volunteering, we think he's had a stroke. So he was just sat there, and we heard his wife shout to him. I'm not calling him by his name. Are you okay? No, and he wasn't responsive. And then the person I was working with noticed that his face had slipped at one side, and there was quite a bit of liquid from his nose. I don't know if that had anything to do with it, really. I think it was just bad timing that he'd been working in the cold and maybe his nose was running a little bit. But his eyes were rolling back, droopy face, not conscious. Then came round a little bit and was talking. Then his wife asked him if he was going to be sick. Before we knew it, lost consciousness. We got him sat down actually on the floor in a W position. You know, he sat with slightly leaned back with your knees up. Turns out he had high blood pressure and he'd not been feeling very well actually the night before. He'd had no breakfast and stuff, so he wasn't feeling great. But we had to ring an ambulance. So everyone down tools, you had to ring an ambulance. 12-hour wait for an ambulance. So then my brain's thinking, how are we going to get this guy out of here? I'm right at the bottom of a hill, redoing this path. Can't drive to it. The only way really is to walk or carry. When they said it was a 12-hour wait, just as I'm trying to arrange a stretcher or someone to knock up a stretcher so we can get him up to a vehicle to then get him to hospital ourselves, they scrambled the mountain rescue. So the mountain rescue came, which was they were amazing. Them guys were amazing. Did a great job. Put his wife was with us. Put his wife at ease, and they got him to hospital. But it was pretty heavy with that. And then obviously you've got to look after all the rest of the volunteers. And then the girl who's my trainee, who works with me, who handled the situation really well. It's not the first time we've been in that situation together. She, I think the adrenaline and everything was going on. She got a migraine, so she couldn't drive, so I had to shuffle her around. And then I got the email at the end of the day to tell me I'm not made redundant. There's been redundancies at work, so it's been a bit of a full-on day. And now I'm dry stone walling with you guys in my garage. Well, workshop. So I reckon we're going to just lift that up to its final course. We'll get as close as we can with that. We'll get some coping stones on there. See how it goes. So, just have a swig of water. I just want to check everything's okay at this end. Yeah. So I'm not going to jinx it, but I'm really hoping tomorrow runs a little bit smoother. That'd be ideal. So another tip while we're working. So a lot of people think when you are breaking your stone, you want to be breaking it with a hammer like this around. Actually, you want to be working on this point. So imagine, I can't show you because the camera's set. So I'm scratch that there, and I'm making my blows using the corner of that. It works really well to hit it that way. You'll get a really nice clean break. There we go. Okay, now a piece along here if we've got one. Again, we're doing that length in, so we'll cut this down, short, length in, short, staggering it along, makes it really nice and strong. There we go. Let's see here. Yeah, appreciate that, Connor. There was one other guy who was great, who works with me as a volunteer leader. He was fantastic as well. But as a team, like I say, it's not the first time it's happened to us, something very similar. I ended up putting a diabetic guy in my truck last year, trying to get him to A&E. And he lost consciousness. As we got told again, there was a 5-hour wait for an ambulance. So this time we were lucky that there was actually we were near the road, so we could take him in the truck. I ended up actually getting him out of the truck on the main road near the hospital because he lost consciousness, getting him in a recovery position and going into the local Oxfam, asking for a blanket to lay him down on. But it's not all bad news, and it didn't get that bad. It's payday today, so that's always nice. So we've gained a couple more thumbs up. So we're running into our last bit of time now. We're on the last course and then coping stones. So if you're just tuning in, really appreciate if you stick a thumbs up on the video. It really helps us out. So we've got a real nice community here at the TheStoneRanger, and I want it to grow. I want more and more people to stumble across the channel, so we can have more and more people like Brian and Paul and Reindeer and Santa and Graham and Connor tuning in each week. So the more we get it out there, the more people like that we'll have. And don't forget Friday Night Fishing Club. There's loads of you. Sorry if I missed you out, but it's not easy to remember everybody. But I want to get the channel out there to more and more people, so we can get more and more people joining the chat and becoming regulars. So by hitting the thumbs up, it really helps YouTube with its algorithm just stick it under the nose of more people, or the thumbs of more people, should we say, as you're swiping and flicking and liking and however it works on there. So people presume that I know a lot about YouTube and use YouTube a lot. I don't actually use YouTube that much. I don't watch that much on YouTube because I'm generally busy. I make YouTube videos. I don't watch too much of it. I've watched a little bit of the Formula One stuff because I like Formula One, which is coming out, starting again well, we'll get in there now, won't we? We've had the cars revealed. We've got a little bit of a shakedown session, and we've got some practice, and then we'll have our first race in March. It might be Australia, the first race. I'm looking forward to that. So I'll use it a little bit, but not a lot. So we're working away nicely along there. So any questions about dry stone walling? Who's here especially for dry stone walling tonight? Anyone got any questions? And who's coming tomorrow night to see me do some stone carving? So tomorrow night's stone carving live. Every Wednesday, 7 till 9. I say every Wednesday. There's going to be a couple of Wednesdays coming up where I'm not around, but we'll figure it out. Next Wednesday, I'm fishing. I'm excited for fishing. Maybe we'll have TheStoneRanger live from the riverbank. We can't because of the timings, it'll be dark, but we could do it in the daytime. That can stay there for now. I'm not sure if it's staying full time. Yeah, that works. It's not quite right, that one. Let's have another go. So I normally go swimming on a Tuesday night around this time, a bit earlier, but not tonight. I leaned over and I can tell back's starting to twinge a little bit. So I've been doing this for a couple of days now and lifting some heavy bits at work today. Let's have a look here. So how has the mic been working tonight? I feel like we've got the mic situation pretty good now. Ooh, what have you been stone carving? I'd love it if you could send me some pictures of what you stone carve. And we're going to meet. We're going to meet in May. I'm looking forward to that. Looking forward to going to the European Carving Festival. I've had some nice feedback from put a little short out there. No doubt you all saw it about the European Stone Carving Festival. And I am looking forward to going, actually. It's a couple of people have been in touch with me since, saying about meeting up, which will be really nice. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. One guy who sent me a message saying he's meeting up, David, forget his second name offhand. He said he'll be easy to recognise because he's 6'9". A bee. That sounds lovely. It sounds really nice doing a bee. Audio's good. Thanks, Connor. So my auntie and uncle keep bees. Well, it's my wife's auntie and uncle, but I suppose I call them auntie and uncle now. It's always strange of how you go about that once you're married. But yeah, so auntie and uncle keep bees down in Bury St Edmunds Way. And they love bees, and she does pottery class. And she has a lot of bee stuff. She likes doing pottery bees, and he's actually got a specialist car which he calls the Bee-mobile. Will I give you a demo on pushing a wall? I mean, I could just go and actually do nothing and just pretend. But I mean, if you want me to try and push it over, I can. I mean, got to remember these kids what are doing it are like 10, 11, 12. I'm 37 and about 15 and a half stone, so it's it'll be slightly different, but I can try and push it over if you want. No, do you know what? I'm not going to because, right, I'm not going to because I'm going to, after I finish this live, I want to make a little short with it. So I'm not going to. Because if I push it over, then I can't make my short. So next time, I've got to redo it. So I've got to do it again because I've got to do it for the guys on TikTok. So what I'll do, I'll recarve it. Or maybe I'll make a short of me pushing it over. So keep an eye out for a short. So this is what's going to happen. I'm going to finish the top of this now. I'm going to put the coping stones on. I'm going to say goodbye to you all. Thank you all for a lovely, it's been amazing. Then I'll make a short of me saying, if you missed out on me building this dry stone wall tonight, don't you worry about that. I'll be back very soon, live on the TheStoneRanger channel, rebuilding this dry stone wall. Gone proper into mode now, you can tell. Then I'll make another short and go, I've just built this dry stone wall tonight. Can I push it over? Or something along those lines. Or I've just spent 2 hours building this dry stone wall just for it to get pushed over. Like the Hulk, gone. How about that? Is that a fair compromise? Did you like it how I went into filming mode straight away then? My arms were flinging around. If you notice when I'm doing my videos, the start, especially the work training ones, I go, hi, and then my welcome back, and my arms, it's like did a training course for first aid a couple of years ago, and you have to do these things at the beginning. You'll probably all know this. You have to do these bits at the beginning to your brain triggers it, so you get into mode. So it was the first aid one was, can anybody hear me? Can anybody hear me? So by saying that, your brain puts you into mode. So by me doing this with my arms and out there, it puts me into filming to the camera mode. So have a look back at some of the videos, you'll see me with my arms flying around. And I used to start them all by going hi. And my wife I'd walk in the house and my wife would go, hi, 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 taking the mickey out of me. So I'm glad she's got over that. She thought it was hilarious. There you go. That's exactly why I gave you what my weight was, so you could work out how much force. So I'm just looking for one really small bit, and then we're done for now. And then we've got to put the coping stones on. So I'm just looking to slim bit in there, and then we're happy. So if going back to the bee of the carving, Christine with her bee carving, if any of you are working on anything, I know Bry's been working on some stuff recently, what he's been saying about what he's going to be selling. If he wants to send some pictures in, and this goes to all of you, if anybody wants to send some pictures in of walls they've been working on or carvings they've been working on, it doesn't even have to be stone related, it can be anything. You're just part of the community, you want to share it, send it in to the TheStoneRanger08@gmail.com. Hopefully Connor or Bry might be able to put that on screen for you now. Send it in, I'll share it with the community, let everyone see what you've been working on, show off, because you all do some amazing things. It'd be nice to get it out there and show it off. So the wall is built. Now, coping stones. So these are a mini version of a half moon coping stone like you get when you're driving around the country. And they're just going to sit on there, and we're going to work our way along. So this one, you might think it's a really fancy looking piece of stone. That's a die off a pallet where it's been kept in the trailer. So nothing too fancy. We'll not have that one just there. Don't want two of the chunky ones together. Now this stone is really pretty. I know that bit's the die, but look at the pattern and the actual stone. Really nice stone. Just come around. Should we look for one at the end? Will we get two in there? We'll shuffle them up. No. We'll have to trade. See how that one goes. So if you are out and you get this, where your last one doesn't fit, I like to come back to the beginning. Make sure they're all nice and tight, pulled against each other. You want them to fit really nice and snug. I meant snug, not slug. At the end. And then hopefully that will just go in there quite nicely. There we go. Look at that. Made for the job. There is a mini dry stone wall. Thanks you, Connor, for putting that on. So that's a mini dry stone wall, finished and completed. Hopefully, as you've been watching this, you've learned a few little tips and tricks. The idea tonight is to the stone carving with the stuff behind me to show you something different. We do walling videos on the channel. They're a bit more seasonal as the lighter nights come along. So as we get more into spring and summer, I've got some walls around the property I need to rebuild. So hopefully you'll join me for them. Yeah, but hopefully you've enjoyed watching me build this. I'm going to go now and try and push it over on a short, just for Connor's amusement, really. But yeah, that's a mini dry stone wall using reclaimed 1920s Welsh slate. It's an old water tank. We've got some Northumberland tiger stripe here. What else have we got? We've got some Northumberland blue. And then we've got some limestone here. Bit of limestone. And then the rest of it is Derbyshire gritstone. So it's a real mixture of stone. So if next time you're driving past a quarry and you see the big spoil heap and there's lots of stone, maybe you could build something like that. Maybe you could get all them leftover pieces of stone and you could build yourself something in the garden. So this is the mini dry stone wall with the TheStoneRanger. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all tomorrow if you're around for a bit of stone carving with the TheStoneRanger. See you all soon.